Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Facebook Live, YouTube Live with myself, Ruth from Top Schools. This is our regular live session on a Thursday at 6 o'clock. It's been a year now that I've been doing it almost every Thursday, and it's a chance for you to ask me anything related to international style schools in Hong Kong or independent schools in the UK. So let me know, what are you struggling with at the moment in terms of admissions? Where are you in the journey? How old are your children? So just type your questions in the comments box on whatever platform you're watching from, and I should be able to get it. So this is a chance to ask me, and I'm honest. I'll give it to you straight. So what's been happening this week? I just wanted to say something about wait lists and wait pools, those dreaded wait lists and wait pools. This is after the Easter holiday now, and most of the schools are still finishing up their re-registration process. So we have lots and lots of students who are apparently without a place for September 2024. And I can understand that this is it's a lot of anxiety and it's uncomfortable to sit with that uncertainty, but I promise you that things change during April and May and even June and even into July and even into August sometimes. So we got a Canadian offer yesterday. We're getting offers. People are sitting on wait lists and they are getting off the wait list. Now, not everybody will, this is true. And hopefully you have a buffer. Hopefully you have a plan B. You can either stay in the school that you're currently in for one more year, or you have an alternative. And if you don't have an alternative, then come and talk to us, or ask your question. Ask me your question here now. So good. I love the questions. Now, sometimes I can't see your name, and that's because of a platform permission issue. But let me answer your name. I'll answer your question. Welcome to Hong Kong. I came for 12 months in 1995. And you have a 2.5-year-old and starting to look ahead. Well, it's not that far ahead. So, welcome to Hong Kong. Most children in Hong Kong start school when they're 3. And when I say start school, they start in a school that they can actually stay in until 11, 12, or even 18 when they're 3. So a lot of people come to Hong Kong, and I see this, or people are looking for a preschool. I have a 4-year-old and I'm looking for a preschool. No, you're not looking for a preschool. You're looking for a through school, because if you come to Hong Kong and you think of it, or you're new to having kids, right? You've never done this before. None of us had done this before when we had our first child. But you're not looking for preschool for a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old. Okay, you're looking for a through school, because our schools are enrolling children when they are 3 and 4, and that's it for the duration. They can stay there until they're 18. Okay, so for your situation, you're going to be looking at these schools and probably others as options for your child to enter in September 2025. So all of the all of the parents that we're speaking to now, if we're speaking to you for the first time, we're looking at a 2025 placement. It is still possible to do 24, but trust me, if you have a little bit more time, you're just going to have more options. So for your 3-year-old to enter, or 4, maybe they'll be rising 4-year-old to enter. Now, you mentioned 2 schools, Dalton School and Shrewsbury. And my first thought is, why? Why these 2 schools? Because they're very, very different. So I don't want to talk about specific schools at this point. We'll talk about the process in general. Now, if you think you've identified these 2 schools as a good fit for your child, I would challenge you to put that to the test. Why are these schools a good fit? What characteristics, what is it about each of these schools that appeals to you? And I imagine with these 2 schools, there's not going to be much of an overlap. If you were to put those characteristics in two separate circles and look at it as a Venn diagram, what's in the overlap? So my first piece of advice is rigorously test whether or not schools that you have on your list, or maybe these are schools that people have mentioned to you, or you've just come across them in your research somehow, somewhere, do they genuinely pass the fit test? So in order to know what if they pass the fit test, you also need to rewind a few steps and ask yourself, what are you looking for in a school? What does make a fit for you? So I'm a bit confused that these two schools are so very different. I would be interested in why you've identified them as a fit. And also I would say to you that why not consider more schools? Maybe you have. Maybe you've considered 8, 10 schools and you've narrowed it down to these two. But if you are still wondering what to do, watch my masterclass if you haven't seen it already. I've got links everywhere for that. So I did it live a couple of times. It's on demand, it's on replay, for anyone to watch anytime. Topschoolsadmissions.com. I'll put that link in the chat. Watch my masterclass. Come to our biggest event of the year in September, which is the International Schools Festival. So, oops, I put it twice, sorry. And okay, so you've been to both of the schools, you found the staff and the print, they were smaller schools and stuff. Yeah, I mean, look, the schools are pretty good at doing tours. They're going to tell you what you want to hear. They're quite good at this. So in order to do a proper 360 evaluation, I would ask you to visit other schools to make sure that you're not missing out, you're not restricting your choice. Talk to parents who are in this. Now, here's the thing, talk to parents who are in the school. By all means, talk to parents who are in the school. But can you talk to parents who were in the school and who are no longer in the school? And you know, do you ever do what do you call it, references for staff? Okay, there's one key question on a reference for staff, because we run a recruitment agency as well, and the key question on the reference for the staff member is, would you rehire this person? And if it's a yes, with great enthusiasm, with some hesitation, with hesitation, or no, basically there's a few options. Now, if you asked a parent who had been in a school and left a school, would you re-enroll your child in this school, or would you send another child to this school? With great enthusiasm, with hesitation, or not at all. That would be interesting. So, of course, we have a community here of over 30,000 parents. We've been doing this for a long time. I can always find parents who left the school, and their reasons for leaving are very, very telling. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's whatever they say, their reasons are their reasons, and they may not affect yours. So can I talk about how they're a bit different? Oh, goodness. Curriculum, geography. I mean, those are two big ones, actually. But then community, the community, the culture, the languages. Okay, Dalton is bilingual, and Shrewsbury's not. So there's quite a lot of differences. So do I've got a module in my program which is called Deep Desktop Due Diligence. Now, you can do a great deal of research on the desktop, and you visit the schools and you've done that, and that's great. And look, if you feel it in here, at the end of the day, if you have an emotional response to the school and you feel like it's a warm and it's a caring community and there are no concerns, and you've got a 3-year-old, how wrong can you be? I mean, how wrong can it go? Not very wrong. Okay, so I am a big believer in intuition and gut feel as well. Okay, so if you're watching, thank you for your questions. If you are watching, I'm going to keep waffling for a little bit longer. If you have any questions, get them in now, because people always put questions in just as I'm going to go offline. I'll do Facebook every Thursday at 6 o'clock Hong Kong time. So any more questions about Hong Kong schools, international style schools, or independent schools in the UK? So we had a good result this week. Was it last week now? Year 9 placement for a great boarding school in the UK. So it's still not too late also if you're looking for a boarding school in the UK and you're still looking for 2024, get in touch. It's not too late. Okay, so I've got, please don't message me in different locations because I'm finding it a bit difficult to focus as it is. So if you have any questions, put them here and I will answer them. So if no more questions, do I have any more news for you? I think we'll keep it short and sweet then, shall we? Thank you for your questions. Welcome to Hong Kong. Pleased to see that there's a lot more families coming in than obviously because of the COVID years, the lost years, as it were. But really, really encouraging to see. I've got families moving in from Canada, US, UK, Spain, Portugal, Australia, of course, mainland China. But really, really encouraging and positive to see new blood, new families coming in to Hong Kong for schooling. So thank you for watching. I can see people now joining. If you have any other questions to ask me, anything about admissions related to Hong Kong style, international style Hong Kong schools or independent schools in the UK. If you didn't watch my masterclass, this is the way in to learn a little bit more about what I do, what sort of support I can provide. And if you watch the masterclass and that seems interesting to you, then book a call with me and I'd be pleased to discuss it with you. Hi, Jojo. Oh my goodness. Right, Jojo, I've got a little handy tool here. So excuse me if I'm going to my other page. I need to know what's your child's date of birth, if you don't mind. So, and also year 8, maybe you could type that for me, Jojo, but can I just say year 8 is a pain, is an absolute pain because year 8 is in between, I'm going to obviously stating the obvious here, but year 8 is in between year 7 and year 9. But hear me out. Year 9 is an obvious entry point, and year 7 is an obvious entry point, and year 8 just in between the two is nowhere. And we've got a couple of year 8s this year that it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to. I need the month as well as the year, Jojo, but I'll do that for you. Let's assume they're born before August. So let's say July 2012, for example. You're too late. I'm sorry. I mean, unless they're born at the end of the year, in which case it'll be 2025. So let me see. So I'm skipping around between different screens. So Jojo has said her child is born in 2012. Daughter, when should she apply to year 8? Now, if your child is born before the end of August 2012, you should have already applied to year 8 because she'll be starting year 8 this coming September. If she's born after the 31st of August, you have a lifeline and you can apply to year 8 as soon as possible, but certainly the deadlines will be roughly end of September, October time for your child to enter year 8 in 2025. But as I said, year 8 in between year 7 and year 9 is a kind of a no man's land, not a great deal of movement. So why are you applying for year 8? Why wouldn't you have applied for year 7 the year before? Maybe you're in a local school. So this is a thing, if you're in a local school, hold on a minute, I need to write this down. So it goes P, right? P1 to P6. Now, P6 is equivalent, grade 6 is equivalent to year 7. So if you finish P6 in a local school, that means you go to year 8. And I've said this, please don't do that. Please don't do that because, as I've already said, year 7 is a natural entry point. It's the start of secondary school in an international system. And so why wouldn't you want to start you don't need to finish P6 in your local school. And year 9 is another good time to start. There's actually quite a lot of drift away from Hong Kong for year 9 because that's the point at which the UK independent schools take students. I hope that's okay, Jojo. I've got other questions I need to go to, but you didn't tell me exactly when your daughter was born. But I hope that makes sense. If you are in a pickle, if you need a spot for this September, I can help you out. I've got a few offers this week, so I've got a few spots. You're very welcome, Jojo. She says thank you. Okay, let's see who is next. My child is in primary 2 or year 2 under the EFYS. I think you mean EYFS. ESF? What do you mean? Sorry, I don't quite understand. And you want to change high school. So high school would be secondary school, i.e. teenagers. Okay, great. You've given me your child's date of birth. So let me just do a little bit of calculations. January 2017 should currently be in year 2. Year 2. Okay. So your child is currently in year 2 in the British system. And in other schools, that could be grade 1. It depends. Have you seen my grade calendar? I've got a chart that shows you all of the different terminologies in the different schools. If you haven't got that, just put grade calendar in the comments and then I'll post the link, or somebody will post the link for you later on. And you want to change high school. When would you apply? Okay, you've got some time. So you would apply. It depends what school your child is in, actually, a little bit. But I would suggest that you apply to, let's assume, so as I just said, year 7 is the start of high school, if you like, currently in KCIS. So they go up to year 6, if I'm not wrong. I don't know this school very well. And their secondary school is quite different to the primary school. So I do understand why you'd be seeking to change. Now, I would say, why not change sooner rather than later? There's a couple of reasons why I might say that. The first reason is that the entry requirements obviously get more challenging as the children get older. So it's relatively easier for a child to pass the year 3 entrance test than to pass the year 7 entrance test. Okay. Now, if your child is academically strong, that might not be a concern, but it is one thing to think about. The other reason that I might say sooner rather than later is that it might take a few years. Okay. Now, especially if you have your sights set on 1 or 2 schools, there's a lot of value in being committed to the process. And if you do apply in the first year and you're waitlisted or even declined, and you're able to understand the reasons and you're able to address those reasons and put in a stronger application the following year, there's a lot of value in that. So it could take a couple of years. Okay, that's another reason to start a bit earlier rather than later. Reasons not to start earlier, don't know, possibly financial. KCIS, their fees are relatively reasonable, I would say. So I understand if that would be one of the issues. The other reason for starting earlier, I mean, if you start with us and you get into the program, we know about some of the new schools that are opening. Actually, this is quite exciting. Let me just, I hope that helps. I don't know your name, but I'll see it later on. Quite exciting. I'm not allowed to say, but there are a couple of new schools opening in Hong Kong in 2025. And then there's a couple more opening in 2027. So if you know earlier, I mean, it might not be the right time to absolutely move your child, but the earlier that you can get in, the earlier that you know about what some of these schools are. So Dalton School is a really good example, actually. So the first parent who was asking about Dalton versus Shrewsbury, you know, when the news broke that they're moving to Wan Chai and all of the developments there, you know, you're going to want to have been in a bit earlier because demand has obviously gone through the roof. for Dalton School, and I'm really thrilled for them because it's a great school. So, your question is, let me just find it again. Here we go. I'm not sure if you mean EYFS. Do you mean that? Do you mean British system? Are they in Anfield or Shrewsbury or one of those schools? They don't have a high school, so you need to change. I'm going to Anfield School next in a couple of weeks to talk to the parents. So if that is one of your schools, come and see my talk. But I hope that answers your question. General advice is talk to us earlier rather than later. You might not want to move your child earlier rather than later, but if you get your strategy clear, you'll know exactly when is the right time to move your child. I hope that helps. Okay. My daughter has ADHD and entering secondary school soon. Can you tell me which one will suit her best? She's 2015, but she's in year 3. Just a minute, I'm just going to do my maths. Is she born at the beginning of the year? So she's a year down, is she? Is she a year down? Maybe you could just... Is she in the right year? Unless she's born at the end of the year. Is she born at the end of 2015? I'm never a big fan of putting children down a year. Oh, she is down a year. Never a big fan for that. Maybe you can put the name of the school if you don't mind, or if you want to private message me. I think I have an idea. Oh, she's late. She's late 2015, so she's not in the wrong year. She's in the right year. Yes? Okay. And she's entering secondary school soon. Well, not really, not that soon. ADHD, my daughter has ADHD. Every second child has ADHD. Do they really have ADHD, or is it a sign of the times? I don't know. Now, if you have a confirmed diagnosis of ADHD, or she's not in the right year, okay. If you have a confirmed diagnosis of ADHD, that's good. I mean, it's good. We've done so many sessions on diagnose to disclose, and you should have a fully comprehensive report running to sometimes 35, 40 pages. And that report should be shared with her current school, and that should be then translated into an IEP, which is an individualized education plan, and they should be giving her the support that she needs. So typically things like sitting at the front of the class, getting more time in tests, certain tools and aids that will help her focus in class. And then there's also tips and resources for parents to support your child at home. You say that she's struggling a lot. I'm sorry. I know. I've been there. I can't tell you which schools are good for ADHD. All schools will consider children with ADHD. It just depends on the level of support that a child needs. It depends on the cohort. Every year's a bit different. I had it yesterday, actually. I was talking with a school, and they're just saying, look, maybe under normal circumstances we would have taken this child, but we have too many boys in this class, and he's is a boy, and we just have too many children with needs in this particular class. Now, had it been a different gender or a different year, things might have been different. So I can't say in general, but lots of children in Hong Kong have ADHD. It's really, really common. That's great that you have a diagnosis. Make sure that the school that you are in make sure that the school is familiar with the report, they are familiar with all of the recommendations, and that they are implementing them. That's the word that I'm looking for. And if not, you have rights. We can advocate for you. We do that sometimes to make sure that the child is getting the support that they are entitled to, and the support that you are paying for, that's included in your fees. All right. So I can't say which school specifically will suit her best. I would ask you to follow exactly the same process that I would take my parents through, which is start at the beginning. Have you seen my masterclass? That will take you through the process to understand what you want. Now, I think at the moment, I have a feeling that you're thinking, which school will take her? We'll be lucky. Any school that might take her, we'll consider that school. I would ask you to shift perspective slightly, and you're in the driving seat, you're in control, you're writing the checks, so to speak. Anyway, so you choose. It's your choice. So you should be choosing a school, positively choosing a school that you think fits your daughter, rather than I fear that you might be thinking which schools are going to accept her. Okay, and that's something that I work with my parents with, about shifting perspective slightly so that you are taking back the control and that you get what you want. Because it's not cheap, right? You're paying for it. I hope that helps you. Any more questions? Let me see. How do I get rid of this one? Here we go. Last chance. Any more questions for me in relation to Hong Kong schools, international style schools, or UK schools? Any questions about UK schools? If not, oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right. If you know how to contact me, you can DM me through Facebook, ruth@topschools.com.hk. Watch the masterclass. I've enjoyed speaking with all the parents this week. Love it very much. But please do watch the masterclass before you book a call with me. It makes things so much easier. You know what I do and what I don't do. And I think we will understand each other much, much better when we get on a call. So that's almost half an hour. I'm going to leave it there. Next week, if you had any more questions for me, use the group. Welcome to all the new members. Lots of new members. I think it was last week, maybe not so many this week. Hope you all had a great Easter. There's a newsletter landing in your inbox tomorrow. We've got some really good events coming up. We've got beach cleanup with Nord Anglia in Sai Kung, and an experience day at Australian school. And if you have older children, we are collaborating on a summer program at Stanford in the States. And there's more and more stuff in the works, and it's a really busy, exciting time. So thanks for joining me. It's been great. I will see you next week, the same time. And next week I have a guest, and his name is Nick Wilshire, and he is talking about the summer program at Stanford. Yes, I almost forgot to mention. So I think it's for children who are aged 14 plus. So that will be an interesting one. Talk about university preparation. Great. See you next week. Bye.